And here we go with our third game of the day. Sorry if you got ads, there shouldn't have been. There's ads on load, but it's about it. So you might have just gotten a bit of a lag spike. Regardless, for you guys that don't have problems with your connection, we do see Minigun here spawning as the red Protoss in the bottom left corner. Meanwhile, top right, we're going to see Grubby spawn as the blue Protoss. So PvP here with the American Hope here, Minigun. Meanwhile, I guess the Dutch Hope, Grubby, is going to be facing him. Of course, Minigun lost his last game versus Slivko 2-1. So that means that Minigun is now 0-2 in groups. Yet to get on the board with the win. That is to say, with 3-2 you still have a good chance of advancing. Not a guarantee anymore, but a good chance still. So Minigun not out of it yet, but he needs to get a win here. Otherwise he can forget about progressing. If you go down to 2-3, you need some kind of crazy four-way tie, I think, to have any chance of progressing, which is of course extremely difficult. Meanwhile, Grubby is 1-1 in the group so far, so he's in an okay shape still. We'll have to see how he continues on this tournament. We do see the gas first coming up here, and super early gas for Grubby. Curious to see how he's going to make that work out. Meanwhile, the 7-day score going down as well. I wasn't paying that much attention. I was looking at the groups actually. And yeah, well, what can we say about these two players? Well, Minigun is the player I'm least familiar with because, of course, he's the American, I'm the European. I'm very familiar with the European players, not as much with the Americans. Grubby, of course, is very well known for his Warcraft 3 days. You can see that he has excellent micro. You know, of course, Warcraft 3 players have to have excellent micro. So anything like Blink Stalkers, Grubby is going to do absolutely amazing with. Pretty much mirrored builds to start this off with, but we do see the second gas here. Oh, well, we see the second gas up a little earlier for Grubby. So a slight deviation. Also the first units out. Well, the Stalker actually starting later for Grubby. Stacking a little bit of gas now. Interesting. Meanwhile, Rotterdam... oh, well, hey, Rotterdam, why aren't you here? Man, come on. I would love to have a co-caster here. Been a long IEM. We do see now the robotics facility here going down. The Twilight Council is the option for Grubby, so here we see a big deviation to start things off with. We are going to see likely the Immortal come out for a Minigun. Meanwhile, Grubby is going to likely depend on his Blink Stalkers, of course. Unless Grubby's going to try something crazy with DT plays. I don't think so in this position. He's stacking up a lot of gas, but I just don't know how that's going to work out. Going to see more and more gates being added on. It's going to be a 4-gate here for Minigun. So likely, well, what's he hoping to do? This is... Oh, I had to look for a second, make sure that he wasn't going to get any of his units caught. We're going to see some Warp Prism play here. Okay. I like that. He's going to go extremely aggressive early on. Meanwhile, there is the Blink going down for Grubby, though. So Grubby is going to be in a decent position to hold this off as long as he gets enough gates to deal with it. We're going to see the Robotics facility now coming on out. An Immortal will do it as well. Okay, Minigun likely gonna go super aggressive, try to warp in units right into the main of Grubby. Of course, a Warp Prism, one way of dealing with those infinite force fields at the ramp you need to deal with in a PvP. A little bit of a skirmish here, back and forth. Minigun losing the first Stalker. So we do see here, Grubby backing away. Realizing that, hey, he can safely secure a position at the ramp. You see Zealots picked up and dropped in the main, misses one. Meanwhile, trying to apply a little bit of pressure in the front, but not doing anything with that. Well, it would be nice to at least bait out Grubby's units while this is going on. And he's successful in that aspect at least. Now we see these Zealots dropping right into the middle line. Zealots warping in for Grubby as a response right away. Actually, no, it's Zealots warping in for Minigun, of course. I thought it was going to be Zealots on the defensive side for Grubby, but nope. Instantly the warp in there by Minigun. And I gotta say, he's doing some devastating damage early on. Now there's the offensive Blink here. It's going to deal with that Warp Prism, take it down right away. There's a lot of Zealots in here, but with good micro, of course, Grubby can take down a lot of them. How many probes is he gonna lose in the process is the question. Though he's already lost 7 now, down to 8. The probes turning around, wanting to take part in this battle as well. A lot of the zealots now just chasing the stalkers. Slowly but surely, he is dwindling down the stalker count as well. And there's no way out for these stalkers there. There's the blink, of course, cooling down. I gotta say, this is an interesting situation, right? This is an interesting play by Minigun. I haven't seen this kind of zealot warp prison play very often, but it's paying off in extreme measures right now. Grubby is down to 15 workers versus 24 for Minigun right now. Now there is a single probe here, but nothing actually coming out of that. Now Minigun warping in stalkers here as well. This looks to be Minigun's game to lose. Yeah, good game gets called. I gotta say, impressive play. It's extremely aggressive play by Minigun here in a PvP play that I haven't really seen that much. Here we go with game number 2 in this best of 3 series. The warp prison play in game number 1 worked out extremely well. Caught Grubby off guard, caught me off guard as well. I gotta say, good execution there by Minigun. Grubby, of course, getting more games in than me. Probably has seen this kind of play before. I was, however, quite stumped. We are going to see Minigun here spawn as the red Protoss in the bottom right corner. Meanwhile, top right, we're going to see Grubby spawn as the blue Protoss. So once again, they stick with their colors. Of course, their races as well. Still PvP here. And we're going to have to see exactly what is going to go down here in game number 2 of this best of 3 series. I'm still thinking about that last game. I'll try not to get too distracted by that. I'm still going over it in my head. We just see down the gas for Grubby going down. Slightly later gas for Minigun here going down. And of course, Grubby, the only Dutch player here. I don't think Red is attending, unless he's in. No, I don't think he's attending. He's not in the last group either. So. Meanwhile, sorry for not recognizing that play. I pride myself in being a caster that actually knows most if not every build that there is out there. But that was something new for me. It doesn't happen very often. It's not likely to happen again. I can promise you at least that much. Do you see the seminary score now going down for both players? And nothing fancy, nothing crazy going down. The second gas now starting. Once again, slightly earlier for... actually, no, this time slightly earlier for Minigun. I believe Grubby getting his gas up earlier. So that means that does mean in the end of at the end of the day they will even out roughly. With that gas income. Of course, how they spend is going to be the question. Both these guys getting the Stalker out after the Zealot. So no major deviations quite yet. In which GCSL finals was it? You gotta remember that I was in the US for the last month or so. We do not see the robotics facility come up. And the additional gateways for Grubby here. Grubby gonna play it safe. Realizes that it's do or die time for him. If he goes up 2-1, he's in great shape. Well, he's in decent shape. Not even great shape, but decent shape. If he loses another map here, he's gonna have to start worrying about his tournament survival here. Minigun staying active on the map. Grubby now with a pylon there is gonna allow him to warp in on the low ground as well there, making the forward path a little bit shorter. Grubby now with a good number of stalkers already out. Not enough to really be aggressive with. Of course, you gotta remember that he does have that additional gate for the time being. Gets the first shot off there as well. He's gonna force Minigun back. Here's the sentry there, so the force fields can come into play. The probe getting picked off first there. And there's the force field coming into play. Good defense by Minigun here. Should easily be able to take this. Well, it loses one stalker still, so Grubby microing to his best ability there to make sure it at least takes down one stalker. You know, the robotics now also going down for Grubby. So I'm not going to try to go for his blink play here. It's unfortunate. I think Grubby excels when he goes for his blink play. Of course, anything micro-intensive is very much suited to his style. And there's the third gateway now going down for Minigun, so he can keep up the gateway production. He's got the first Immortal out now, and I don't think there's nearly enough Stalkers to really get that aggressive towards this. So Grubby's gonna have to just take his time getting Immortals of his own now up. Might take down this Observer, no, not quite. We're taking that first Observer is actually kind of a huge blow. Grubby running up, just face checking the top of the ramp. Observers playing tag at the top of the map. Meanwhile, both players now going for that War Prism. That's quite interesting. I wonder if this contained is still a good idea here for Grubby, the soft contained. You have to imagine that he needs to start being very careful here, assuming he can't really get us Immortals out there. Now what is he going to do? Is he going to lift that War Prism up and lift that Immortal up and take it along, or going to wait for the other one? Nope, he's not going to wait for the second one. That means that even if he brings this War Prism here, though, you know, he's still going to have to deal with the 2 of Minigun. And the problem, of course, is that, you know, the force field there at the ramp is going to be too strong. That's why we see Grubby doing a bit of back and forth here, trying to make Minigun make a move. But here we see Minigun with his own War Prism, of course, meeting that of Grubby. They run Ninja Shutter. Meanwhile, now Minigun with the aggression first off. Grubby also trying to get something done. We'll select Minigun's units here, and he does take down the initial wave of Stalkers that Grubby warps in. Now trying to get at the Immortal. Meanwhile, the Stalkers now coming in, trying to take down this War Prism. They do indeed. Meanwhile, the aggression here at the front. We do not see that Grubby is indeed forced away, and the contain is broken. War Prism still alive for Grubby. That's something he's got going for himself at least, but the expansion now going down for Minigun. I have to say, if Minigun can get this expansion up and running, he's going to be in amazing shape right now. It's basically a short period in time where he needs to be very careful, but if he can make it work, then it's going to be brilliant. So now the Immortal being dropped there into the middle line, just trying to get some kills. The Colossus coming out to meet her, and there's only 2 Stalkers in this composition. It's going to be very hard to take this down, especially considering, of course, there's no blink. Oh, that's clever. Actually able to pick away at this Pylon. Spider Pylon is going to be free, and actually picking a Stalker off as well. Now that Pylon goes down there. Looking at the Colossus count, though, they are both at 1 Colossus right now. There's the Immortal once again going in. And Grubby is really executing well in this Immortal play. Proving very hard to deal with for Minigun. So actually see the graphitic drive here come into play now for Minigun. Not too surprising, common upgrade in this position. Now what does Grubby want to do here? He's moving out aggressively here. And honestly, I would have loved if he had continued his War Prism Ras more than be aggressive. Yeah, he's just picking up the additional Immortal there, escorting it safely. Of course, that Immortal took a lot of shots already when Minigun was doing his War Prism play. There we see that drop come into play once again. And the warping right into the main. Grubby now being chased out by Minigun. But it does mean that Minigun is not going to have much to defend here. Pulling his probes, forgetting about his main for the time being. Now his army is coming back. Great attacks by Grubby. Right now he's outplaying Minigun a little bit. There we go. The aggression is held off, but still those Immortals in that War Prism still alive. Simply not enough Stalkers to deal with this. And now the aggression from Grubby here with his main force as well. Nice shots on those probes would have been beautiful there. Instead, we do see the aggression here from the War Prism now with Minigun. Minigun trying to do the Immortal play on its own as well. And not that successful with it. Loses one Immortal already. Meanwhile, the Nexus here for Minigun does go down. Minigun is trying to snipe it. Can he get it done? Yep, there we go. He does get it done. That's an important blow. They're trying to take out a Colossus here as well. Oh, one more hit. Yep, nicely done. Should be able to get out here as well if he wants. This is a micro-intensive PvP. If you guys wonder why there's so much silence, please remember that I've been solo casting for the last 2 days from 9 to 8. We do see that there's a good amount of Stalkers here in Grubby's War Prism. That is going to make it a lot tougher for Minigun to really keep his alive. Is he going to pick it up? Oh, this is such a hard decision to make. Do you pick it up and risk losing it? Right now, Grubby's force is just looking to intercept. He's going to keep it alive for the time being. I think he still can rotate around. Just flies over the void. Nope. Oh. Shields have recharged enough. Good choice. Now he is going to lose his Immortal though. Oh. Nope, picking it up again. Oh, the War Prism does go down, but he does manage to drop the Immortal again. Already up to 7 kills. And there we go. I gotta say, these guys are not making this your average PvPs. You're gonna see that range is coming out for Minigun. The range actually range did start for Grubby. It means that until range actually finishes for Minigun, he's gonna have to be defensive. And he's 90 food ahead. If we look at the bottom line right now, we see that the worker counts are roughly even. Meanwhile, another bit of aggression here by Grubby. Yeah, the worker counts are roughly even. Now after that aggression, a little bit behind is Minigun. The Colossus count are even, the gateway count, well, there's a bit more units out for Grubby, and that makes a difference right now. And there we see the warp in now. Meanwhile, the big army aggression at the front as well. Keep an eye on what's going on here as well. Big engagement right now. Well, Minigun is trying to micro as well as he can. He just doesn't really have the units to keep up here. Now only has one Colossus left. That Colossus go down as well. And yet Minigun is forced to tap out. Just didn't have the units there in the engagement. And that means that we are going to be tied 1-1 in this best of 3 series. And here we go with game number 3 in this best of 3 series. Minigun here spawning in the 9 o'clock position. Meanwhile in the 12 we are going to see Grubby spawn. So once again the same colors. I don't know what the delay was about here before this last match. You guys should be free to cheer in chat, but you gotta remember that there's auto scripts on Twitch as well. So if you spam something that is getting spammed a lot, you might get things deleted regardless. That's not anything that we're doing. That's just unfortunately how Twitch works. We do see the gateways here. Same timing, of course. There's honestly, there used to be a considerable amount of deviation. You could do something like a 10 gate, you could do the 12 gate or the 13 gate. These days it's all about that 13 gate. It's just very often the best option. Of course the map here is Atlantis. One of the DSL maps. Gained a lot of popularity. We do see now the double gas, or the sort of gas on both, of course. I should be careful what I say. The gas for both coming up. Grubby with that earlier first gas. I gotta say, I love you guys in chat today. You guys are awesome, and thank you guys for actually watching. It's been a long IEM so far. Doing a lot of solo casting, and I'm like at this point where I'm hoping that it's gonna get done soon. But no, I know that it's gonna be another 8 hours or so. Regardless, we're gonna have some awesome matches, so I can't complain. What could be better? to spend those next 8 hours with more amazing StarCraft matches. We do see the gas now coming up, the second gas coming up for both players at the same time. And can we draw? Well, we should be able to get a draw. I mean, it's possible. I'm pretty sure it's going to be replayed if that's the case, though. So, I'm sure you guys would love that, because I know there's a lot of people that love both Minigun and Grubby, because Protoss players of course have their idols. If you're an American Protoss player, then Minigun is one of those players that you're always going to be interested in watching. Grubby's always had a lot of fans from back in his Warcraft 3 days even. Now we do see the second Zealot come out by Grubby here. So he is stocking up a little bit more gas. Still adding on the second gateway though, so not going straight for robotics here. On the other hand, Minigun is going for that robotics, and there's where the gas is being utilized. We're gonna have a Stargate play here by Grubby. Grubby pulling the audible here in what has been a very unconventional PvP series. We already see the Stargate, which is probably the last trump card in how they could make this work. It's going with 3 gates here in addition to this. I wonder how much information the second Zealot would actually give Minigun. I mean, that does give you an indication that, hey, gas is being saved up for something. Regardless, he is going with the robotics. Probably would have been better off adding on more gateways if he was going to prepare for any kind of Phoenix play here. Which I'm assuming it is going to be Phoenix plays. Yep, it is going to be a Phoenix play here. The Void Ray play is gone somewhat out of fashion lately. Mostly because it takes 2 to really be efficient, and then still in PvP it's tough to utilize. Now Minigun is going for the expansion here. That means that he's going to have even fewer units out on the field. Grubby's definitely going to try to hit a timing here. Either 3 or 4 Phoenixes. And we'll see what he can get done by that. Of course, he added on the initial gateways because it is great to actually be all aggressive with this. Oh, the probe is going to try to get in. Yeah, the probe getting good information. How far can it go? Well, not that far, but it does spot 4 gates. So he knows that Grubby is going to try to be super aggressive. And that actually triggers Grubby to move out a little bit earlier. The Observer now coming out as well. Spots the Phoenixes, so now Minigun is well aware of what's going on. Adds on more gates, makes the adjustment. No cancel on that natural yet. I guess, if anything, you can at least use delay your opponent. I don't know, man. This is going to be a bit iffy here for Minigun if he can hold. We do see now the Twilight Council is going down. If he does get that blink up, of course, that's going to be a great play. Now the aggression here at the bottom with Grubby attacking into the natural. The natural's not going to get cancelled. Phoenix is still out here as well. Grubby hitting his timing and is going to get a kill on this Nexus. So cancel here probably would have been the better move. I don't think he can afford to really move out. Yep, Minigun is going to lose this Nexus here. Not making the adjustment in time there. He's researching Blink. He's actually starting a pylon wall here at the top of the ramp. At least that's going to be a considerable choke point. His Phoenix is meanwhile just trying to do a little bit of harassment towards the middle line. And Grubby expanding behind this actually. Picking off more probes. Keeping his Phoenixes alive. Of course, just as important as how much damage you do is how long you can actually keep these Phoenixes alive as well. We do see that, meanwhile, back at home, the robotics is getting added on by Grubby, so he's not going to go all in with this. He's basically saying, okay, I canceled your expansion. I know you're not going to be able to move out. You're not going to be able to do anything for a long time as long as I've got these Phoenixes out. And while you're sitting there, I am going to get a second base behind this. And as soon as Minigun even looks at that bottom of the ramp, more and more probes get lifted off. Let's see, down to 19 workers now. A total of 9 killed by these Phoenixes. And now there's the blink. Minigun wants to clear his front. Is going to break this soft contain here, of course. Now, how far is he going to want to go? He might just have to he might just have to go for the counter here. Needs to deal with his Phoenixes still, though. Oh! Lifting a sentry. Nice blink. Takes down one of the Phoenixes. Now that Blink comes into play, of course, it becomes a lot tougher, but oh, the reinforcements keep getting picked off. So is there actually a pro with this? Yes, there is a pro with this, so he is going to be able to get a forward pylon going. There's no mining being done at the natural. Grubby probably realizes that that's not going to be a safe area. Now here's the engagement at the bottom of the ramp of Grubby. Force field there being utilized, but nope, the observer there is going to give high ground vision. The aggressive Blink there trying to snipe this Immortal. Cannot get it done quite yet. Of course, still has time. Now this ramp is cleared. The second Immortal does come out here. Minigun doing wise to just ignore the natural for now. Oh, there's a lot of zealots out for Grubby. Grubby in the red though can't actually reproduce much army. There come the Phoenixes. They're going to lift his Immortal. There's a defensive Blink there. And he should be able to take down the Immortal. Minigun losing the Immortal there. There's still 2 Immortals up, and mostly regen is the shields on that first Immortal as well. Minigun in a bit of a bad position here. Would probably love to keep the aggression going, but simply can't. His pylon now under attack as well. There's the aggressive Blink. He's going to pick off some relatively free units here. Until Grubby's forces actually swoop around. Phoenix is doing yet more damage. Oh, apparently not everyone on board with that Blink. A little bit of miss micro. Of course, that's always stuff that just happens sometimes. We do see this Blink at the force field at the ramp. That should help Minigun buy a little bit of time. That's the last force field, at least for the time being. So Minigun not looking so far good so far. Also remember that behind this there's no expansion for Minigun. So Grubby here now steamrolling forward, trying to clean up the aggression from Minigun. Minigun with the defensive Blink, trying to just get his way out of dodge. Buy his way out. There's more Immortals coming up now finally for Minigun, but there's 3 on the field already for Grubby. Grubby must be feeling great right now, has that expansion. Notice he's got the far superior economy. Able to warp in even a Zealot here, just to make his way up. Running in, getting that full scout, knowing exactly what is going on. Meanwhile, just a few Stalkers left for Minigun. And honestly, Minigun, if he loses this game, then it's going to be he's going to be 0-3 in his group. He's going to be miles behind. We need a miracle to actually progress. We are going to see the Nexus here now go down. He's not out of it yet. He's trying to get this natural up. Meanwhile, Grubby already fully mining from that. If you look at the worker count, you see that there's 33 probes versus 28. And the War Prison play now by Grubby. Preparing to continue some aggression here. Actually, to start up some aggression again. Assuming you had to be defensive there as Minigun attacked. And the Phoenix is actually getting picked off. That is something that Minigun actually got done there. It's a great play, and with this this War Prison play, of course, going down, you have to remember that there is Blink on the Stalkers of Minigun. Now the Zealots going right into the middle line, trying to see what they can get done. There's more being warped in, of course. Meanwhile, Minigun really far out. Blinks back into his main. More and more workers now falling. This is heartbreaking to watch, really. Down to 20 probes now, down to 16, 15. Meanwhile, the aggression at his front as well now. The Immortals from Minigun just trying to hold down the fort. Grubby is executing this amazingly on this attack. He's down to 4 probes now, and yep, there's the good game called. That means that with 2-1, Grubby is going to go up 2-1 in this group.